evening, everyone. So, I had a bad nightmare. When you're under stressful situations, you should be watching things about people who kill people. Scary stuff. Um, what I want to talk about, I went out on my porch at 2 o'clock this morning, and the maintenance man who lives here, who also works in the property, smokes on his patio. But here they call it the breezeway. So, I want to talk about the lease. So, on page 9, smoke-free areas. In the middle of it says obligation to enforce your smoke-free obligation. A material breach of your smoke obligation will be material breach of the agreement and grounds for immediate termination of this agreement and your tenancy. Management does not guarantee or warrant the smoke-free condition of the designated smoke-free areas or health of residents. Manager makes no implied or express warranties that the premises or property will have a higher quality standard of any other areas. The success of our effort to make the designated area smoke-free is dependent upon voluntary compliance by you or others. Furthermore, manager reserves the right to change or eliminate our smoke-free policy in the future. You acknowledge that current residents may be under the same smoke-free restrictions. First of all, this was not a topic that was spoken to during this process. Secondly, they state in the smoke-free area, residents may not smoke anywhere in the designated smoke-free areas such as amenities areas, gym, club rooms, business centers, etc., and or in common areas such as office or breezeways, or any other designated with no smoking signs or non-smoking. Tell me how this makes sense. Residents must inform residents, guests, or invitees of the non-smoking policy. Other residents of the property are third-party beneficiaries of this agreement provision. Your smoke-free application restrictions are made to benefit other property residents as well as to us. A resident may sue another resident for an injunction to prohibit smoking or for damages but not evicted another resident. Management will have the right but not the obligation to enforce your smoke-free obligation. A material breach of your smoke-free obligation will be a material breach of the agreement and grounds for immediate termination of this agreement and your tenancy. Manager does not guarantee or warrant the smoke-free condition of the designated smoke-free areas or the health of residents. Management makes no implied or express warranties that the premises or property will have a higher air quality than any other areas. Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk to you guys about. So it's very well ventilated on each floor. Secondly, their maintenance people who are out there working on on these different apartments are smoking and flicking their cigarette butts on the ground. They don't even pick them up until the other person has to go around and pick them up. They want you to do something that they can't even do with their own employees. Their own employees smoke on their properties where they live when they get off work, and they smoke on their patios. The breezeway in this area that they state does not state it's our patio or our balconies. On page 11, oh no, wait a minute, let's go here. On page 11, balcony and patios and windows. Residents shall maintain and clean all patios, the premises and other areas which are reserved for the residents' private or semi-private use. Garbage shall be disposed of only in appropriate, like the trash cans. Residents are not permitted to shake or hang rug, towels, or clothing from windows. In addition to the foregoing, residents shall be responsible for keeping the premises in good and clean condition, reasonable wear and tear expected, and shall be liable for and shall pay all costs and expenses for damages to the premises, including but not limited to replacing or repairing all broken or damaged furnishing, furniture, fixtures, or damaged to walls, ceiling, floors, carpet, doors, or windows, including both interior and exterior of the building, regardless whether such damages are caused by residents or residents' guests. There are a lot of nails and stuff in the walls here that prior residents have done. But that's another thing I want to talk about too on that as well. So then we're going to go to page 23 on our lease. It's page 23. Balcony and patios. Suitable containers should be kept under potted plants to prevent seepage down to your neighbor's patio or the interior or exterior of the building. Do not hang clothing, towels, etc. in or out of windows or over railings of patios and balconies. No storage of cartons or unsighted material is permitted on balcony or patios. Balcony and patios must be kept free of hazardous items. The following exclusive items that may not be stored on patio balconies or landings: camping or folding chairs, satellite dishes that do not comply with community guidelines, coolers, grills, dead plants or empty plant containers, swimming pool floats, pets, pet cages, or pet material such as dog houses and toys, boxes, strings of outdoor lights. This is permitted in December. Curtains, bamboo shades, sunscreen, netting, or wires, bird feeders or wind chimes, artificial plants. The following is permitted on patios: wrought iron outdoor furniture, natural material outdoor furniture such as teak, cedar, or wicker, healthy potted healthy potted plants, outdoor rugs. Okay, so then we got that one all such situated. But I don't hear breezeway. Do you hear breezeway on there? I don't hear it. I don't even see it. Okay, so we're gonna go to page 12 of the lease. Harassment. Harassment because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, family status, or disability is a violation of the Fair Housing Act. Any person who believes he or she has been subject to harassment is encouraged to promptly report conduct to the community manager. No person will be subject to retaliation or other adverse action for reporting such harassment. Management considers harassment a serious offense and will properly investigate any such reports. Persons who engage in harassment are subject to penalties up to and including termination of tenancy or termination of employment. Since that baby gate's been up there, we've been nothing but harassed. Can't even tell you how many times pictures have been taken of that gate, including the person who decided to go in and make lies about me because I want to become a social worker. Not my problem. You spread your stuff to other people, but I'm not here to kill and destroy people. But I don't like when my peace is disturbed and when someone's being abused. I'm going to stand up for that person and have a right to. And I think it's real wrong that um, management's taking all these complaints about a gate that's accommodated by a doctor. And what goes on between me and her goes on between me and her district manager. But I'm clearly being harassed. I've reported it to the Attorney General's office repeatedly, and these tenants are still living here. That makes no sense to me. So, who's all behind all this? It's annoying. Now I'm over here minding my own business, sitting on my porch. Page 18. Marijuana prohibited. Under the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act of 2010, Possession and use of limited quality of marijuana is permitted for an individual who has a valid registered identification card issued by the Arizona Department of Health Services. However, under the Federal Controlled Substance, marijuana is classified as a scheduled drug. Under federal law, possession and/or use of marijuana is illegal in the United States of America. The United States Department of Housing and Urban Development has determined that marijuana use is not a reasonable accommodation under federal fair housing law. The determination the determination was issued through the medical use of marijuana and the reasonable accommodation in federal public and assistance housing, January 20, 2011 policy statement. The community complies with federal regulation and status. Management deems the use of marijuana on the grounds of the community as a violation of applicable federal law. 33 Arizona REV State 1368A and or of the crime-free admin to this lease. Therefore, management prohibits the possession of use of marijuana on the grounds of this community, and residents shall not process, grow, or use marijuana within the boundaries of this community. When we when we talked to her about smelling marijuana in her house and we knew where it came from, she blamed the people below us. But those people worked with children. They were randomly drug tested. We know it didn't come from them. They weren't that way anyway. But instead of taking accountability, they were smoking pot on the porch. I stated it in a letter with eyewitness testimony. And you know what? They're still living here. So it doesn't, all the rules don't apply to everyone. We filed an agree- we filed a report with consumer fraud for multiple things because we're being um, used for a medical accommodation and for smoking on my porch. This is not a breezeway, this is a hallway, and it's well ventilated. Have the right. They did not make it clear when I signed the lease that breezeway does not state it's your patio or your balcony. They have no right just to say you don't own the patio or property, the patio or balconies, because it wasn't clear in the lease. And you know it isn't clear. And you know that the patio and balconies are your porches. You rented them. According to what I read